the inner rage. He has so much rage in him. I had a lot of inner rage in my body growing up. That's what I carry my whole life. Every one of us has a little Hulk inside of us. And we relate to him because the things we want to do, the Hulk does for us. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, 1951. And I was a skinny child. Very introverted. I had an ear infection and had nerve damage. I lost 85% of my hearing. That had a huge effect on my life because it made me different than everyone else. I made me very introverted as a child. I had kind of, like we just say, a love and hate relationship with my father growing up because he had a hard time accepting me having a handicap because I wasn't perfect, the perfect son. He kind of pushed me and taught me never to feel sorry for myself. Every week, twice a week, I would have to take a train to the city to learn to lip read. So basically it was very hard for me because I would finish elementary school during the day and then go to the city, then come home in the evening like 6 p.m. It was almost like a full-time job. Being very introverted, I had kind of a walk-the-middle lifestyle. And I remember when I discovered the comic books, Spider-Man, the Hulk. I was like maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 years old at the time. It was like very therapeutic for me because it gave me a chance to escape and fantasize that someday that's the direction I want to go. That's the kind of superhero I like to become. I was reading these Hulk comics, admiring the physique on the Hulk, and I saw a magazine that said Muscle Power, and Dave Draper was on the cover. Before you know, I'm looking at this magazine and I said, oh boy, and I see these different bodybuilders doing different poses, and that made me discover muscles, what muscle's all about. And I ended up buying now muscle magazine, bodybuilding magazines, learning about bodybuilding, and want to know how I can maximize my body. I remember my dad took me to the movie to see Steve Reeves' Hercules and Hercules Unchained. So when I saw Steve Reeves, the way he was built, and he was lifting all these monstrous poundages, and in fact he was fighting all these people, that's what I wanted to be. The next step was me to start working out and getting the feeling of picking up the iron, and it gave me a great feeling. I just like working out. The more I saw my body started to change, the more I became obsessed. I just loved working out. It was like an obsession to me. I had to do that. It meant to me more than anything. It gave me a tremendous boost in my self-esteem, even though at the time, bodybuilding was a shadow sport, and everyone kind of against it. I would get ridiculed by my friends. They kept laughing at me. But I didn't let it affect me because every time I trained, it made me feel good about myself. I was about 19 years old. I entered my first competition. I came 23rd place. But I remember that night when I stepped on stage and the flashbulbs going off, I flexed and posed and everything, people clapping for me, and I'm saying to myself, wow, they're clapping for me. I mean, this is something I'm really proud of. That night I came home, I told my family I'll never come less than 3rd place again from this day on. So I ended up mapping out my routine and training twice as hard. I've lost so much in my life when I was young growing up. To fulfill that part of me made me extremely competitive. That's what I love about bodybuilding. It's a solo sport. And I just love the feeling of competing with myself. I've won the Mr. Eastern America, Teenage America, Mr. Teenage America, Asian Teenage America, Mr. International, runner-up Mr. Olympia twice, and Mr. Universe twice. The youngest one to win the universe, I was 21 years old. It was my greatest achievement because I know when I won the universe, that's a dream coming true. That broke the mold and made me realize that someone like myself or my problem, the sky's the limit. I was living in New York. They approached me about doing this movie, Pumping Iron. I was ecstatic of being in the movie because I knew that whatever happened, I was part of something that was going to be history because of myself and Schwarzenegger. And of course, Arnold at the time was like 5-time Mr. Olympia. And to be on stage with him, you know, you're on stage with the best. It was a lot of fun. It put bodybuilding on the map instead of where people put shame to it. I got a phone call. They said they were casting for the Hulk, which I was like blown away. They were filming the pilot using Richard Kiel, who played Jaws on James Bond. And Richard Kiel was a big guy. He was like 7'2", but he didn't have the physique. And one day a director came on the set with his son. And the boy said to his father, the director, he said, "Daddy, that's not the Hulk." And the father said, "Why?" And the boys said the Hulk, it's got to be big, big, huge muscles. They started to get nervous, realizing they had to find the right person to play the Hulk because they knew the show would be in trouble. When I went down for the screen test, I knew I had this part because when they saw my physique, my body, and I was able to show different emotions without speaking, able to cry and everything, then I knew I landed the part. And to have that part, knowing that it was something I've been dreaming about for 20 years as a little boy, reading those comics, fantasized of becoming the Hulk, it was kind of like a dream coming true. I knew that with me having that part, the show was going to be successful. Because no one can play the Hulk but myself. He was well aware that people thought he was a monster. He was a real gentle soul that he didn't mean to hurt anybody. He was always running because he was frightened. And the Hulk knew that every time he hears siren, his life going to be in danger. He always kind of kept running, almost like King Kong. The most challenging aspect of playing the character was to show the emotions without speaking. Because when you're acting, the emotions is everything. So I had to show the emotions through the makeup, through the eyes and the teeth. Because I wanted him to be a wonderful character, not just a typical monster. I would arrive on the set sometime like 4:30, 5 in the morning and get made up. They applied a forehead and nose piece, and then they used a special grease makeup on the face. Then the body would take like 4 or 5 coats to guys by hand, putting the makeup on. Then after that, they applied the wig, then the eyes and teeth. Then they would put the wardrobe, put the pants and shirt on. So you talk about 3.5 hours. I've done most of the stunts myself. And a lot of times I didn't want to do it, especially all the crashing through the window, through the wall. I had to jump off second-story building. They couldn't have everybody else do it because no one had the physique to match mine. The hardest thing for me was not really playing the Hulk. The hardest thing for me was able to maintain the condition because sometimes I'm finished 9 o'clock at night shooting. Just an hour to take the makeup off. I just went straight to the gym. Trained for an hour, went home, collapsed, fell asleep, back on the set. At 5 o'clock the next morning. That was brutal. Bill was more like a mentor to me. Bill was a great guy and a veteran actor. I loved watching him when he was doing My Favorite Martian, Courtship with Eddie's Father, The Magician, The Hulk was his 5th series. Bill took me under his wing because I've never taken acting classes before, so it was all new to me. It was a learning process. He was a certified magician, and he would do magic tricks on the set. And he was a jokester too, and he had a wonderful sense of humor. And he's very witty, very quick. So he would play jokes with me and other people, and he was so subtle, so quick, and before you realize, he got you. The Hulk was loved by everyone. I don't know one person who doesn't like the Hulk. We had the tram that would go by, and people would just wave when I'm filming on the set. They would just get excited. The kids would jump off the tram, and they want to take pictures and everything. The show first hit the air. I remember that I had to go to different places to do with different appearances, and I remember they just screamed, the Hulk, and it was almost frightening. I mean, like, you don't know which way to turn. You want to just go under the car, just hide away. Bill and I felt secure with the show going to go another season. I was at the White House, near the White House, going to meet the President of the United States on some function. And then I heard on the radio that the show was canceled. And I didn't believe it was true until eventually I called Bill myself, and he was surprised. Everyone kind of shocked. I think the show was canceled because someone at CBS felt that the show had inflated budget. I think it was one of the most expensive shows on television. But I think they regret it now. They never doing that. Coming back to Movies of the Week, I think it was about 8 years later, I was a little nervous because I used to have nightmares about the makeup, but it was like yesterday. It just came back with like a breeze, like a reunion. As a matter of fact, we're even closer than ever before. Bill was directing. Working with Bill, as a director, I felt very safe, wonderful. We were filming in Vancouver. And the nice thing about it that we didn't have any executive telling us how to run the show, and we had the show in our hand and run the show the way we wanted it to be run. Also bringing the character of Thor and bringing the character of Daredevil, the wonderful idea. But I think eventually we're going to have the Hulk start speaking. Eventually, it would have led to that point. We're going to do a movie called The Revenge of the Hulk, where Bill's mind is in the Hulk's body. It's going to be a wonderful twist to the character, but then Bill got sick and passed away. After the show was canceled, I was approached by Canon Film to film Hercules. And I was excited because, like I mentioned it before, I used to follow Steve Reeves. I never thought I'd be playing Hercules myself. We filmed in Greece, Rome, Italy. So it was a blast. We had some of the guys that filmed the original Hercules movie to film on our crew. It was great because they gave me a chance to make a movie without the green makeup. And I knew a lot of people were going to see the film, and I wanted to be in the best shape of my life because once you do a film, the movie's permanent. I trained very hard every day for 3 months straight. When I was there, I learned the different styles of sword fighting. It was a lot of fun because that's something I've always wanted to do. Sit with Danny was a lot of fun. She's a beautiful woman, great body and everything, and we had a lot of fun making the movie. There's 7 magnificent gladiators. We did a lot of sword fighting, a lot of funny stunts in the movie. I had probably one of the best times in my life because it gave me a chance to relive of all the movies I've seen as a child, like Spartacus. Dan Vallis played the villain in the movie. With Dan Vallis in the movie, I was happy because I remember him when he played Hercules himself. Also, we had Brad Harris. Brad played Hercules, and so I had a chance to work with him. Sinbad Bay, 1986. Sinbad the Seventh Sea, directed by Enzo Castellari, and he's a wonderful director. And visually it's beautiful. It's funny, it was playing on TV 2 nights ago, and my son watched it, and I said to him, of all the movies you've seen, which one you like the best? He goes, I like this one, I like Sinbad, because we gave a kid. Cage was one of my favorite movies because it gave me a chance to play a guy that was shot in the head in Vietnam, and then eventually he became involved in these human cockfights to survive. And I did a lot of research for this character, and I know when Cage came out, I got a lot of good reviews. Comedy's hard. I like playing comedy. I have a neighbor on the show, King of Queens, playing Lou Ferrigno. They had me to play myself, and I just really love doing comedy. As a kid, they used to call me deaf mute. So I thought I was dumb, I was stupid because I didn't have my hearing. But when I started to lift weights, I said to myself, I'm gonna be so big, so strong someday, nobody's gonna pick on me. I guess I did gone too far in that direction. Santour, I'm very excited about. The cover things that you never seen before. You see my family life, you see my children, and you see me get a chance to train with my friend of mine named Ira. Unfortunately, he passed away 2 years ago. He was my closest friend. But we really put our heart and soul in this film. I wanted people to see what my real life was. I did not want it to be a whitewash movie. All right, Joe, bye-bye. I talk about relationship with my father. I talk about my relationship with my friend. And my wife talking about what it's like to be married to a man who's competing. And it's a movie I'm really extremely proud of because I think it's going to move a lot of people, especially people that have different disabilities, that have handicap. You see, I always advocate that every one of us has a handicap. Nobody's perfect. But that's something that we don't talk about much. So that's why I came openly and talking about this. And people to see the naked side of me. And I think it's something I'm very proud of. Ang Lee is a huge fan of the Hulk. Ang is just loves the Hulk. He grew up with the Hulk. He probably seen every episode. I was just blown away. I was very tickled by it. So he wrote part for me in the film at the cameo. After I did the scene, the whole crew clapped. You could tell that everyone in the crew was excited about having me in the film. The Hulk is going to be done computer generated. And they're using special effects no one's seen before. And I think it's going to be a huge hit. Now bodybuilding is so popular. Everyone wants to weight train. Bodybuilding, has a lot of different advantages. It's something that everyone can do. Men, women, kids. I still do personal training now, but doing it for 25 years, and I see people from all over the world. I teach them the proper way to train, the proper way to eat, the proper way to have a good lifestyle, have a positive attitude. I like motivating people. And that's something I enjoy doing. I just started a new personal training business. We're having probably the best training facility in California. A lot of people like to come to me because being a world champion myself, they get the best kind of advice from me. If you want to make it more difficult, bring it to here. My son's working out now. He's like 18 years old and he's buff. His arm is big and blonde hair, he's 6'2", he weighs 230. And my youngest son, 12, he looks like a Hulkster too. A well-balanced family life, that's my greatest satisfaction. To me, everything else is secondary. Believe in yourself. And being best friends with yourself and not competing with other people, but compete with yourself. That's very important. I love bodybuilding. I like keeping in shape. If I never discovered bodybuilding, never done that, I probably gone the other way, negative, and probably end up being sheltered with myself, being introverted, and feeling that I could not amount to anything. But I learned to become best of friend with myself and my body. I used that discipline to achieve the other things I want to do in life.